And welcome everybody to another edition of the GSMC Baseball Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And once again, I am your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, and it's great to have you guys here on this Friday. Once again, if you're tuning in, because I just got done with the football podcast, so now I'm back here talking some baseball. Once again, we had the week off. Well, not the week off, but it's been a week since the last time I talked baseball on the show. Of course, obviously, you have the shorts coming out every single day. So there's still baseball content coming out, just obviously, not as consistent as it once was with the scheduling change and things like that. But we're back again talking baseball. And once again, just want to remind you guys, when it comes to, wanting to get your comments recognized, in order to do so, you donate or tip to do so, and that's by going to the link below on the ticker, streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. So again, that's on the bottom. In case you want to donate and have me, address your comment on the live show. That's a great way to have a interaction between, myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. So in order to, get your chat highlighted, make sure to do that. We greatly appreciate it. And then, of course, the bonus coverage materials that are not covered by this live broadcast here, make sure to go to patreon.com, search up GSMC Sports Network, and that is where you could find all of the exclusive content, not just from my podcasts, but also the other podcasts here on this on the GSMC Sports Network as well. But once again, the link is on the bottom. So if you want to get your comment, me to highlight it during the live broadcast, make sure to go and do that. It's on the bottom here, streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And again, that could also help improve the show as well. Obviously, and I'm always looking for recommendations as well, and things like that in case there's certain things you want me to touch upon. So that's just something I wanted to address, obviously, and that's of course something that we address throughout all our shows, because we really want to get that that interaction between the host and the viewers, of course. So, but obviously with today's show, I got some things to cover, of course. So we're going to talk about the current playoff format. Obviously, there's complaints with that, and I've touched upon it a little bit. I did last week, with some of the teams getting eliminated. Then we're going to talk about, because it was something that they were talking about on the Michael K. show yesterday, so I thought, maybe I'll talk about it. We're going to talk about whether or not Jose Altuve deserves to be a Hall of Famer, so we'll get into that. Might be a little surprised with my answer. Just a little tease. But again, that's the reason to stay tuned in. And then we will recap the championship series so far. We'll go through each game that's been played so far. Obviously, both series aren't over yet, but a lot's happened since the last time I spoke to you guys. At least with the show. I've done the shorts, but now we're going to talk about it on the show. So those will be the next the final two parts of the show, and that'll be it. So with that, let's get right into the first topic, which is talking about the current playoff format. So obviously, the playoff format has gone through a lot of changes over the years. Since I started watching, it used to be you had three divisions. You had three division winners, and then you had one wild card. And the wild card winner would play one of the division winners, the team with the best record, right? So you had that. I think it was the best record. Whatever. But you played one of the division winners. So it was 4 teams in the division series. Then, obviously, they added the extra team, and I think that was first implemented back in 2012, I want to say. The one-game wild card, so they added an additional team. So, 2 teams would play the one-game wild card, and then they would play the top seed, one of the division winners. And now we first saw it during COVID, basically, But now you have division winners, and now you have 3 wild cards. So the lowest, the lowest seed out of the division winners would play, the lower seed in the wild card round, and then you have like the first wild card and the second wild card playing against each other. So the 3 plays the 6, 4 plays the 5. Now, obviously, there's definitely been some complaints with the playoff format because you had the Braves getting knocked out back-to-back years, the Dodgers getting knocked out back-to-back years. But here's the thing. Last year, that happened. Yankees and the Astros won their divisions. And, they still beat the team. The Yankees and the Astros still beat the teams that came out of the wild cards. They were able to move on. Now, the Astros wiped the floor with the Yankees, but still, they were able to both move on, and they were the 2 best teams in the American League last year. Although the Astros were proved to be far superior to the Yankees. And the Guardians did almost beat the Yankees, so give them the respect there. But Yankees were the better team, and they won. Astros won. But the Dodgers and the Braves, back-to-back years. And the Braves had an incredible season this year. 2 guys could have won MVP. They had a Cy Young candidate. And they lost to the Phillies. First time ever that a team with, I think it was like over 100 wins, loses to the same team in the postseason. Right? It was something like that. And the Dodgers, they won 100 games, and they lost to the Diamondbacks, who won 84 games. And people are complaining that it's because of the layoff. That's why these teams, ended up getting eliminated. But you look at the Astros, didn't affect them. And the Astros are going to be a huge topic on the show today because we're going to talk about Altuve, and obviously we're going to talk about the championship series so far. But, the last 2 years, the Astros have moved on. It has not affected them. But the Dodgers and the Braves, they both have been knocked out. But the Phillies have knocked out the Braves 2 years in a row. So the Phillies maybe it's because the Phillies kind of just own the Braves in the postseason. Because the Phillies have a great lineup. Dodgers lost to a good Padres team last year. Padres are very good last year. The Diamondbacks, should they have beaten them? They're the better team, but look at their pitching. Clayton Kershaw gave up 6 runs in the first inning, recorded 1 out. Clayton Kershaw has a history of not pitching well in the postseason. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman went a combined 1 for 21. Lance Lynn gave up 4 home runs in 1 inning. Lance Lynn was not good this year. That was one of the Dodgers' big acquisitions at the deadline. And the Diamondbacks have talent on their team. Although, yes, they won 84 games in the regular season. They struggled at points during the year. But Diamondbacks aren't, watching them and, up close and, seeing what some of the guys do on their team. Corbin Carroll's been great for them in this postseason. Going to talk about him, when we go over the championship series, but Fought, their starting pitcher, who I, mispronounced his name, he's been great in the postseason too. He's pitched well for them, for the Diamondbacks. And, of course, you have Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen. The Diamondbacks, they had the advantage with pitching in the series. So, did the Dodgers lose because of the layoff, or did the Dodgers lose because their pitching wasn't good and their best hitters just went and combined 1 for 21? I would lean more towards that. Now, do I think the playoff format is a little excessive? Yeah, I do. Because, you got the Diamondbacks who win 84 games making the playoffs. But you know what? The Diamondbacks are making it worthwhile because they're now in the championship series. If they were to just, waltz in and then the Brewers knocked them out, swept them, then you're like, yeah, what are we doing here? But the Diamondbacks, they sweep the Brewers, they sweep the Dodgers, and now they just took Game 3 yesterday against the Phillies. They held the offense down finally. So the Diamondbacks aren't a bad team. They're better than what their regular season record says they are. Now, again, you could say, well, they got hot at the right time. It's true. But you really look at the Dodgers, the pitching was going to be the issue. I just thought their lineup was going to step up. Now, does the layoff factor into why these teams got knocked out? I mean, maybe. But I think, the Phillies, their lineup is right there with the Braves lineup. They have a great home field advantage. Braves lost to the team that was better at the time. Ronald Acuna didn't show up in the postseason once again. The other thing, too, is the postseason just is simply a different animal than the regular season is. The crowds are more intense. Everybody is just praising Philadelphia and their home crowd and how amazing it is in the postseason. It rattles players. It does. It has to. So, listen, and you look on the American League side of things, what the Rangers are doing, the Rangers lineup is very good. And Nathan Eovaldi has a lot of postseason success. Look at what Jordan Montgomery is doing. Rays haven't been good in the postseason last couple of years. The Twins and their postseason success. Obviously, they did beat the Blue Jays, but, the Astros were the better team. They were going to win that series. Then you go up against the Orioles, a team that hasn't, been to the postseason in a while. You got a lot of young players. You got some question marks in your rotation. And the Rangers are a good hitting team. They took advantage of that. So, we're in the second year of this, but I think it's a lot of. I think it's also because people are like, well, we don't want to see the Diamondbacks in the World Series because it's not, a great matchup. We want to see, like the Braves against the Astros, or you want to see these big teams going at it. You don't want to see like a surprise, matchup. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, there's people that care about making money and ratings. That's really what it comes down to. So for me, I would say the current playoff format, I think it should, to me, it should go back to, 4 teams from each league make the playoffs. There's one wild card, and you're getting the best of the best there. They're not going to go back because, listen, I hated the one-game wild card. That, I will admit, that's a Yankee bias because the Yankees just didn't have success in it. Well, they did have success, but what did they end up going 2-2 with that? Yeah. Well, I can't say the bad outweighs the good. I went to like the best game of my life with that game, and they won it the following year. But the Yankees were. But you know what it is? It's the stress of it. Because if you lose that game, that's it. You're done. Like there's no tomorrow. You're done. So that's why like wild card series is better because you add another game, you add another team, but turn into a series. But I don't know. I don't know what I was saying there. But with not being successful, well, most recently it wasn't successful for the Yankees. But for me, I think if you really want to get rid of it, you go back to how it was with, before the wild card game. You just go back to 4 teams make it, and there's one wild card team. That's what I think, honestly, because I don't want to go back to the 1-game wild card. But you know what? It's going to stay like this. But you know what? It really, if you're that good, like the Dodgers and the Braves were this year, then you should be able to overcome that. It's true. Sorry. So, all right. Well, that's pretty much it with this first topic. So with that, we're going to take our first break of the show. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about Jose Altuve and should he be in the Hall of Fame? Because he is well on his way to having a Hall of Fame career. But obviously, there's some things to talk about with that. So when we come back from our first break, that's what we will discuss. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are going to discuss Houston Astros second baseman Jose Altuve and whether or not I believe he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, he's on his way to having a Hall of Fame career. Now, obviously, things can happen and, he just falls off and, that ends up not happening. But he is on his way to having a Hall of Fame career. And, this was a topic that was discussed on the Michael Kay show yesterday. They were discussing it, and I thought, maybe since I'm doing the baseball show tomorrow, I could talk about it as well. Now, obviously, I have me and Jose Altuve have our differences. He's broken my heart many times, and that will definitely continue as long as he is playing for the Astros and just playing baseball in general. So, obviously, he's definitely a thorn in my side as a Yankee fan. And, of course, he was also part of the team in 2017. But he was part of the team in 2017 that cheated. And that's where this discussion comes in, is because of the cheating scandal. Now, listen, they talk about, well, he said that he, would never take the signs, he wouldn't, take part in that. How do we know? There's no way that he just didn't take advantage of it. And, of course, then you also have in 2019 when he hit the walk-off home run against Chapman. And, by the way, 4-year anniversary since that happened to send the Astros to the World Series. And then as he was rounding third, he was saying, "Don't take my jersey off." And everybody's like, "What? Why?" Because, the speculation of the buzzer. Now, it wasn't proven, of course, but there had to be something going on. I mean, I know he said that, the tattoo and, he was embarrassed of it or something and his wife would get mad. I don't know. It was just weird, just a very weird thing. So there could have been something. Wasn't proven. But listen, for me, I think Jose Altuve should be in the Hall of Fame. I want to pull up the graphic here that I have for today. So these are his postseason. On the top are his postseason numbers for this year. So 265, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. The 2 home runs came the other day. Against the Rangers. And then obviously his career postseason numbers are on the bottom. 271, 25 home runs, 51 RBIs, 841 OPS. Actually, did he hit 2 home runs the other night against the Rangers? Or I know he definitely hit one. He hit another one like on the first pitch in one of the I think it was one of the games against the Twins. Yeah, it was against the Twins. I mean, no surprise there. But yeah, I mean, guy's a great postseason player. He's a clutch player. He's a clutch player. And obviously, listen, like the cheating scandal, yeah, it happened. It's bad. And that could definitely be a reason why he gets held out of it. But, I mean, this definitely opens up a bigger discussion, like, should players that have cheated be in the Hall of Fame? Yeah. I think they should. I think they should. Because you know what? A lot of the players that cheated, I mean, you look at Barry Bonds, A-Rod, that was obviously the steroid era. Pete Rose with the gambling. all these players are super talented, had Hall of Fame careers, but they did things to enhance their careers that, they went past that line of you cheated. And listen, I think, if those guys don't do what they did, then obviously they're in the Hall of Fame. But they made mistakes and it happens, but they did it because they're super talented. They wanted to gain even more of an advantage. So, for steroid users, yeah, they should be in the Hall of Fame. And obviously this is different because this has to deal with, a whole team, not an individual player. I mean, you look at the guys on the Astros, Altuve, Bregman, however his career shapes out. So far, again, he's on that trajectory as well. But these guys are just very good players, and they're doing this, as far as we know, after cheating. That 2017 Astros team was really good. They didn't need to cheat. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, and I've said this before, I'm not going to sit here and say the cheating is the reason why the Yankees lost the World Series. Or lost the championship series. Yankees lost because they couldn't hit. Now, I think the Dodgers, they have a bit more complaining because, the video of, them not swinging at any of Clayton Kershaw's curveballs or any of his off-speed pitches. Yeah, that's a problem. And, they lost that, 13-12, 12-11 game in Houston. Yeah, the Dodgers win that game, they win the World Series. So, I think the Dodgers have a little bit... yes, the Yankees obviously can complain about it, but I think the Dodgers can complain about it a little bit more just because, I think the cheating impacted that series more as opposed to the Yankees. Because the Yankees just simply didn't hit. That's why they lost. I'm not blaming the cheating. I will not blame the cheating. And the excuses they make, especially last year, talking about the roof being open and it carried Bregman's ball out for a home run, but it knocked down Judge. Give me a break. Sorry. Didn't want to bring that up. But now, again, the Astros, to me, I don't like them more just because they just continue to, punch me in the gut every single year. Except this year. It's funny because 2021, the Yankees get knocked down in the wild card round. They don't even make the playoffs this year. They actually finished in those years with a winning record against the Astros. But last year, we had 99 games. Nope. ALCS, they get swept. But the year we don't make the playoffs, they sweep them in Houston. What? But anyways, yeah. So to me, I think Altuve should be in the Hall of Fame. I think he should, because you know what, they stole signs, but they wasn't using performance enhancing drugs. Even though, like I said, I think the guys that did do steroids, I think they should be in the Hall of Fame too. Altuve is just a great player. He's a clutch player. And none of this stuff seems to affect him. His career in the regular season, he's a 300 hitter, 209 home runs, 747 RBIs. He's got an 835 OPS. In the regular season, he did miss some time, but he had an over 900 OPS, 17 home runs, 51 RBIs, batted over 300. The guy's just consistent every single season. He should be a Hall of Famer. He should. The cheating scandal definitely is going to factor into that, but not to say, listen, I'm not going to forgive them for that. I'm not going to forget, but, I'm going to give the respect that they deserve. It's one thing, though, if the cheating stops and they just, go into the tank and they're awful. They just can't hit anymore, which that wasn't going to be the case. I was kind of hoping that, with all the booing and everything, that would affect them and they would just, not be good anymore. But they kind of caught a break with the pandemic because, 2020 was the year we all found out about it. And, Then obviously the pandemic happened. There was no fans. So they kind of caught a break there. But, yeah, I mean, listen, they went back to the World Series in 19 and 2021, and then they won last year. So, I mean, and they could be well on their way to another World Series championship this year. So, they are a well-run organization. Obviously, the cheating's always going to be like that dark cloud that hangs over them. But, I mean, they're a good team. And right now, a lot of the players that were on that team aren't on that team anymore. I mean, you got Bregman, Altuve, Verlander was on that team. I think Presley was on the team. Trying to think of who else. Am I missing anybody else? Because Springer's gone, Correa's gone. Lance McCullers, but he's hurt. I mean, Brian McCann was there, Beltran was there, but they're both retired now. Two former Yankees. Dallas Keuchel was there. He's not there anymore. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys are gone. Was Maldonado on that team too? Might have been. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of those players are gone. And now it's like a different team. I mean, Alvarez wasn't on that team. I mean, he was there in 19. I mean, he's a monster. We're going to talk about him in a second, for the third part of the show. But, I mean, he's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those players are gone. But they just keep going, and, Altuve just continues to perform well in the postseason. So, I mean, as long as he keeps playing like this, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. As much as, we have our differences. And, the cheating thing is always going to be there. It's never going to go away. But I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But, again, that's not for me to decide. That's up to, the people that vote. And obviously they have a difference of opinion. But, yeah. But also, I mean, you look at what he's done after that. I mean, he just continues to play well, be a clutch player. I mean, if they win another, and they won last year. I mean, they win again this year. I mean, come on, you're gonna. I don't know. I really have no idea. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, we're gonna get into the ALCS in a little bit. But yeah, I think Jose Altuve should be in the Hall of Fame. But let me know what you guys think. Should he be in the Hall of Fame or not? Let me know what you guys think. I think so, but obviously everybody has a different opinion. So yeah. So with that, we are going to take our second break of the show, and then when we come back, we'll continue our Astros discussion. We'll recap, what's happened so far in the American League Championship Series between the Astros and the Rangers, and that'll be the third topic of the show. But again, I just want to remind you guys, if you want to get your comments recognized in the chat, I highlight it and address it during the live broadcast. Make sure to go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. It really helps the show. It's very easy to do. It also helps us out as well to give you guys, the best content we possibly can give. And then, of course, for bonus coverage materials that are not covered by this live broadcast, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network. So, yeah, with that, we are going to take our second break of the show, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the championship series in the American League. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are now going to recap what's happened in the American League Championship Series so far. So, obviously, Game 4 last night between the Rangers and the Astros was played. Astros end up tying the series. So, the series currently is at 2-2 at the moment. The Rangers took the first two games, of course, so we'll go through every game just to recap them really quickly. So Jordan Montgomery continued his great postseason run. He went 6 1/3, 5 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts. The Rangers won the first game 2-0. Jonah Heim had an RBI single, and Tavares also had a home run in this game. So that was the scoring in the game, and there was a big double play late in the game. Was it in the 8th inning? I think it was. So great catch in the outfield by Evan Carter, who just, continues to impress. So Altuve got doubled up on that play, and that was big in the game because, Astros are trying to, come back. So they throw Altuve and double him up. And then Alvarez grounded out. So that ended up, ending the threat there. And, so the Rangers won Game 1, so they were up 1-0. Then Nathan Eovaldi continued his postseason dominance as well, improving to 3-0 in the postseason. 6 innings, he gave up 3 earned runs. But they were ultimately able to hold on. Robbie Grossman got it started off. He reached on a fielding error that allowed a run to score. Adolis Garcia single to make it 2-0. Mitch Garver single to make it 3-0. Nathaniel Lau single to make it 4-0. So that was all in the top of the first. And this was against Framber Valdez. Alvarez homered. It was 4-1. Jonah Heim homered to make it 5-1. Alex Bregman homered to make it 5-2. Michael Brantley an RBI double to make it 5-3. Alvarez homered again. That's what I'm talking about. Like, the guy's been unbelievable in these playoffs so far. Let's actually look at his numbers in the postseason this year. So, 31 at-bats. He's batting .419, 6 home runs, 13 RBIs, and he's got an over 1,500 OPS. It's been unbelievable in the postseason this year. But yeah, the Astros, they closed the gap, but they ultimately weren't able to come back. Their comeback fell short. And, Aroldis Chapman, he came in and gave up a run. Leclerc, he was able to close it out. But, yeah, Aroldis Chapman pitching against the Astros in the postseason, it would have been really funny if, something were to happen, but hasn't happened yet. Then the next 2 games, the Astros, they were able to win. They scored a lot of runs. They won Game 3, 8-5. Max Scherzer did not have a good start in that game. 4 innings, 5 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. And the Rangers, they fell behind. They were down 5-0. They ended up losing 8-5. They, got closer, but it just, Max Scherzer did not pitch well. And I kind of expected that because he wasn't pitching well before the injury. And, didn't pitch well against the Astros when he went up against Verlander. So, yeah, kind of expected that. Martin Maldonado had a 2-run single, but before that there was a wild pitch. So the Astros were up 3-0 after the top of the second. Top of the third, Jose Altuve hit his second home run of the postseason to make it 4-0. Dubon single to make it 5-0 in the top of the fourth. Bottom of the fifth, Josh Young homered, 2-run homer to make it 5-2. Yordan Alvarez singled to make it 7-2. Josh Young homered again, 2-run homer to make it 7-4. So, yeah, you look at these guys that the Rangers have, Josh Young and Evan Carter. That's their future right there. So, they got some good young players moving forward. That's exactly what you want to see. Jeremy Pena, he singled in the top of the 8th to make it 8-4 Astros. And then Adolis Garcia singled in the bottom of the 8th to make it 8-5. And that was the final score there. So, yeah, that was a tough loss for the Rangers, of course. They really never had a chance in the game just because, Max Scherzer kind of put them behind from the beginning. And then we go to yesterday's game. Astros all over the Rangers, 10-3. They were down 3-0, the Rangers, but they came back and tied it. Then the Astros put up a 4 spot in the top of the 4th, 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. So we'll go through the scoring there. So Alex Bregman, he hit a 2-run triple, make it 2-0. Yordan Alvarez singled to make it 3-0. Adolis Garcia homered. Josh Young hit his sacrifice fly to make it 3-2, so that was after the bottom of the second. Bottom of the third, Corey Seager tied it with a home run of his own. Yordan Alvarez, another sac fly in the top of the 4th, and then Jose Abreu homered, a big 3-run home run to make it 7-3. Chas McCormick, he homered in the top of the 7th to make it 9-3, a 2-run shot, and then Alvarez singled to make it 10-3, and that was the final score there. The Rangers pitching, not good. Andrew Heaney gave up 3 runs. Dunning gave up 3 runs. That was not a good performance by the Rangers pitching. Altuve went 3 for 4. Dubon 2 for 5. Alvarez 2 for 4. So the series is tied now. And we got today's game. You got Verlander against Jordan Montgomery. So this is big for the Rangers because they got outside of Eovaldi and Montgomery, it's kind of just like cross your fingers and hope the pitching holds up. But in the games that those two guys haven't pitched, that's been the issue. Scherzer didn't pitch well, and they tried the Heaney-Dunning combination, and that did not pan out either. So this is a crucial game. Game 5 tonight for both teams, and then obviously this series will now go back to Houston. So far every road team has won, but they got the right guy on the mound. The Rangers, they got Montgomery, but it's going to be tough obviously going up against Verlander. So and that game is on at 5:07 Eastern time, I believe. I think I just saw. Let me just double check just to make sure. Even though I was literally just looking. 5:07 p.m. Eastern time. And that'll be the final game in Texas for this series, and then the series will go back to Houston. Both championship series are on today, once again, so that's good. Excuse me. But the series has been very good. It's been a roller coaster. Rangers, they look like they had the edge, but the Astros, again, they don't blink. They're down 2-0. It's all right. They're back. Now it's tied. So, this is a big game for both teams. Good pitching matchup. But what's funny is with Jordan Montgomery, so the Yankees apparently are, interested in Montgomery. And I think I talked about this. If I'm Montgomery, I'm not going back to the Yankees. I'm not. Because it's like you said that I was not. You didn't see me in your postseason rotation. Why would I want to go back to you? So I don't know. I would go somewhere else and make my money elsewhere because I just don't see it. Also, I'm just seeing now. I'm getting like this weird text from like a company that came across my resume and they're interested, and I'm like, no, I have no idea what this is. Not interested in that. But the thing is with it, it's very like general. It's like, oh, we came across your resume. We like what we see. We would like to bring you in for we'd like to have an interview with you. Like, you don't even say like how, you're not even like, you're not specific. You're just very general. So no, not even gonna entertain it. But I just got a text because I got a call yesterday. And I'm like very busy with a lot of different things now, with other things as well. So it's like there's a lot going on, but I just whatever. But I just got a text about that. But no thanks. But same thing with Jordan Montgomery. Like, oh yeah, you're interested? Yeah, no thanks. I'd rather not. Yeah, so but it's a big game for him. And listen, I did this segment a couple weeks ago about like the for players, their stock, certain players, their stock rising, depending on what they do in the postseason. Jordan Montgomery's stock is rising. I mean, him and Evaldi, like they're both the reason why the Rangers are in the position they're in, along with their lineup. It's just everybody after that. Again, it's cross your fingers, and you see like in the games that they don't pitch. The Astros are putting up 18 runs last two games, so this is a big game tonight. Well, today for both teams. I'm hoping it's the Rangers and the Phillies. That's kind of what I want, but again, you can't count out the Astros. So, and I said this series would go 7 games. Astros winning that in 7. I mean, these next 2 games are big because for the Rangers, because you got your 2 best starters on the mound, and you got to win those 2 games because, if it comes down to Scherzer and Heaney and Dunning, I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done because they just they haven't been good. They were not good. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it with this. Right now, the series is tied at 2-2. It's been a great series so far, and we just got a chat from Nick Urillo saying how Max Scherzer is a bum, and yeah, you know why he's saying that because he's a Met fan, and he wants to see Max Scherzer, perform like he did the other day. So, they do. The Met fans that I'm friends with, they just absolutely despise Max Scherzer, and they're like the complete opposite with DeGrom, because listen, DeGrom left the Mets. He didn't want to play for the Mets. Too much of it. He didn't want to pitch in New York. But I think it's just because of how, both situations were different because Scherzer just was like, yeah, I'm out. Well, how it all went, because he's like, I got to go talk to the front office because they're trading all of our guys. And then he's like, oh, okay, that's what the direction we're going in. All right, I'm done. I'm out. Yeah. And the other thing, too, is like Scherzer's going crazy when they won the, they won the division series. Why was I saying we? They won the division series, and it's like you didn't do anything. You did nothing. We weren't offering DeGrom 185. Okay, yeah. But you know what? Then again, you could also say, well, DeGrom, if he could have stayed a Met. But, yeah, he just, you know what? The Mets did make the right move with letting him go. Letting DeGrom go. Because he was going to get hurt, and look what happened. So, but you know what? I do give the Rangers credit because, you lose DeGrom and Scherzer hasn't really worked out, but they were still able to, weather the storm and make the playoffs, and now they're, 2 games away from going to a World Series. So, yeah, he was right about the Rangers World Series vision. Oh yeah, because I was in the press conference. Yeah, because he talked about that, and we were all like, what? World Series? Well, it's possible. It's possible, but they're not there yet. So with that, we are going to take our final break of the show. And then when we come back, we'll discuss another team. We'll discuss another thing that Nick Urillo likes, and that is the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Diamondbacks. We'll recap the games from that so far. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the final topic of today's show, we are going to now recap the National League Championship Series, each game, how they've gone so far. And that'll basically be it for the live portion of this edition of the GSMC Baseball Podcast. So let's get right into it. So the Phillies and the Diamondbacks, currently the series is at 2-1. The Diamondbacks won yesterday. So we'll go from Game 1 to Game 3 in terms of the recaps. So the Phillies, Game 1, they got off to, like, the fastest start ever. Well, again, that's hyperbolic, but still. Like, Diamondbacks didn't score in the top of the first. And literally, like, the first 2 pitches for Zach Gallen. The first 2. Well, not the first 2. But the first pitch in each at bat, I think. Well, I know Schwarber definitely. The Phillies were already up 2-0. Harper hit a home run after Schwarber's. And then, they scored runs in the bottom of the second. Nick Castellanos hit a home run to make it 3-0. Bryce Harper singled to make it 4-0. JT Realmuto in the bottom of the fifth. He singled to make it 5-0. Perdomo homered to make it 5-2. Alec Thomas sac fly in the top of the seventh. So the final score ended up being 5-3. Kimbrel got the save. Gallen got the loss. Zach Wheeler, another former Mets pitcher, pitched very well in this game. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts. Dominguez and Alvarado got the hold. Kimbrel got the save. So, yeah, Diamondbacks lose a close game there. Game 2, that was just pure domination by the Phillies. And Merrill Kelly made some comments before the game. He said, I don't know if it's going to, the stadium crowd's going to compare to the, the crowd in the World Baseball Classic. Well, shouldn't have said that because, the Phillies just dominated the Diamondbacks in this game. And Merrill Kelly, 5 2/3, 4 earned runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and the bullpen gave up 6 runs as well in the game. Yeah, Phillies it was all Phillies in this game. Trey Turner homered, Kyle Schwarber homered again. JT Realmuto doubled to make it 5-0. Brandon Marsh doubled to make it 6-0. Alec Boehm doubled to make it 8-0. JT Realmuto singled, make it 9-0. Castellanos a sac fly. So those are all the runs there for the Phillies in Game 2. Diamondbacks just couldn't get anything going. They only had 4 hits in this game. And Aaron Nola, another player whose stock is rising from the postseason. He's 3-0 with a .96 ERA in these playoffs. So definitely a pitcher that a lot of teams are going to look to try to get, in the offseason. And then yesterday's game, not a lot of action yesterday. Didn't get our first run till the top of the 7th. And that happened on a wild pitch that scored Bryce Harper. In the bottom of the 7th, the Diamondbacks answered Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He doubled to tie the game, and then Kentel Marte singled. And that was the walk-off hit off of Kimbrel. Suarez pitched very well for the Phillies, 5 1/3, no runs, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts. The bullpen did well, but yeah, Kimbrel ultimately, a couple of walks, he surrendered. That led to the hit by Marte that won the game. And listen, I got to shout out Brandon Pfaadt. Did not have a great regular season. He finished 3-9, 5.72 ERA. But in the postseason, he's been good. Doesn't have a win-loss record right now. It's 0-0, but he has a 2.13 ERA in 3 games, 15 strikeouts, and his whip is .95. He got taken out after how many pitches did he get? 70 pitches. Listen, I can't. Now, it didn't backfire, but I just can't stand it with when these managers are pulling these starters when their pitch count is low. It just doesn't make sense. It makes sense, but it shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening where you're taking out. You want to save your bullpen. That's what the postseason is important where you gotta have your bullpen saved. You got to keep your bullpen rested because you're gonna burn them out. And I say this all the time with the Rays. But it's just that they're going to continue to do that. It's never going to stop. But it's going to backfire eventually. Now, it didn't backfire for the Diamondbacks yesterday. They find themselves back in this series. They held the Phillies down. I mean, the one mistake was the wild pitch. So, now it's a series. But it's just that's just one of the things that really. I mean, it's not going to go away. No, it's not going to go away. It's going to continue to be a problem. But it's just something that we're going to have to deal with. But the Diamondbacks, they picked up. I mean, that was a big win yesterday. I mean, and listen, you hold the Phillies to 2 runs. One of them was off, or 1 run. One of them was off of a wild pitch. And now we got tonight's game, of course. That's the pitching matchup in that game. If MLB will load, I don't know why it's taking forever to load. Okay. I don't know why it's doing this. Okay, here we go. So it's 8:07 p.m. Eastern time. So we have on the mound, we have Christopher Sanchez going for the Phillies, and then you have Joe Manaply for the Diamondbacks. And so far in the postseason, 2-0, 9-point ERA in 3 innings. So I'm guessing this is going to be a bullpen game for the Diamondbacks. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But, I mean, now it's a series. And, I mean, I said I had the Phillies in 6 games. So, we'll see. But, listen, the Diamondbacks pitching did its job yesterday. And, we'll see what happens today. But, listen, protect home field. That's what you got to do. I mean, on one side, the Rangers and the Astros, both teams, the away team has won every single game. And on this side, although they've played one less game, the home team has won every single game. So it's a reverse. But let me know what you guys think in the chat, how you think, these series are going to go the rest of the way. Right now, listen, the Rangers, they looked like they had the edge, and then the Astros came back. So, and the Diamondbacks won yesterday. So, I don't know. At the moment, might be seeing Phillies-Astros again for the second year in a row. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. These are big games tonight on both sides. Nick Urillo says, Phillies in 5, Astros in 7. It's probably what's going to end up happening, honestly. Well, especially the Astros in 7, because that's what I had before the series started. The Phillies, I mean, listen, like at some point during the postseason, they were going to have a dud, and yesterday was kind of that. I mean, they, only run was off of a wild pitch, and you thought, yep, here we go. But no, the Diamondbacks, they responded, tied the game, and listen, Craig Kimbrell, he's another guy that. You got to cross your fingers and hope that, he doesn't, blow it, but he kind of did. So, with the walks. And, the Phillies and the Rangers, they both have that. I mean, they got Aroldis Chapman in their bullpen, the Rangers, so you always got to cross your fingers with him, too. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it with the, both series. Obviously, we'll see what happens this weekend. We're getting closer and closer to the World Series, and then before you know it, the season's over, and then it's like, now what? Obviously there's trade rumors and things like that, talking about free agents and where they could possibly go. That'll basically be how the shows will go from, the end of the World Series, up until next season, basically. So, but yeah, no, it's, it's been a while, obviously, and, the schedule with me has changed, of course, because now I got the football show doing that Monday through Friday. This is just Fridays. So, and once I'm wrapped up with the live portion here, I'll be recording the Patreon. So, again, just reminding you guys, for the exclusive content, make sure to go to patreon.com. And search up GSMC Sports Network so you can see this once this is you can see the Patreon episode once that is posted. But But yeah, that's pretty much it. Today actually went better also because my allergies yesterday were so bad. Today my nose is not as stuffy as it was, which is good. Obviously with the weather changing and things like that. It's getting colder out, so got to dress a little warmer. And yeah, I mean, today's been a long day just because, you got two shows. I mean, it's a 3-hour show basically. You're doing them back to back. So, yeah, so I'll have these shows reposted tomorrow into 4 parts each. I'm working on getting I'll have the football show from yesterday reposted, so I'll have that up by the end of the day. And obviously keep an eye out for the shorts that I'll have coming out, of course. Basically saying, hey, go watch the show in case you missed it. And then, we'll talk about a topic from the show, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, got the ring light shining in my face. Yeah, but hopefully we see some excitement with these. We'll continue to see some excitement with these series. Obviously, really big game tonight for both teams to try to take a 3-2 lead in the American League, and then Diamondbacks try to tie it up. So, it's big. It's big. And maybe we'll have one of the teams advance by the end of the weekend when we come back on Monday. I think it's definitely possible. So we shall see. But yeah. So once again, if you want to get your comments recognized, make sure to donate and tip, to help us out. Really appreciate it. It helps us out. It can make the show even better, of course. And obviously, again, the viewer interaction between myself and you. That's obviously one of the important things that we try to emphasize here. And then again, for the bonus content that's not covered here, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network. And yeah, so I hope everybody has a good weekend. Enjoy all the football games, enjoy the baseball games. I'll be back on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time for the football show. Once again, that's Monday through Friday. We'll be streaming that on both YouTube channels, the GSMC Sports Network YouTube channel and the GSMC Podcast Network YouTube channel. And then, of course, the baseball show will be back next Friday, every Friday. That'll be at 12:45 Eastern Time. So, make sure to tune into that after watching the football podcast. Stick around with me for 3 hours. Well, obviously, an hour of that is Patreon, so you won't be able to see that unless you go to patreon.com. But yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the live portion here. Wrapping up here. So thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, make sure to look out for the show. Football show from yesterday that's going to get reposted in case you missed anything, so you don't have to go through the whole live stream to find what you missed, watch what you missed. You'll have all the individual segments reposted. So but yeah, that's basically it. Thank Nick for joining and talking about Max Scherzer and DeGrom and things like that, his favorite people that used to be Mets. But yeah, that's what it's all about. It's the interaction between the viewer and the host. So until next time, I'm Kenneth Gruenfelder signing off from the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Enjoy all the games. And I'll see you guys on Monday for the football show. GSMC Baseball Podcast will be back next Friday, 12:45 Eastern Time. I'll see you then. Take care.